For what we're doing today, we're gonna need this. Let's grab one of these right here. And we're gonna need that hood. Once she dries off, we'll go ahead and take a deep dive look at the hood. How you doing, guys? Today we're going to talk about my senior's hood. Now, if you haven't seen a senior with a hood, one of the things I think you would find really surprising and possibly interesting is how paper thin this fiberglass hood is. Now, my particular tractor is an early 1955 senior. There's multiple, I've talked about it in other videos as to why it's dated to that, but there is one aspect on this hood that supports that. So it's probably in the early stages of the hoods for seniors, because the hood started in 1955, and to the best of, talking to people that know this stuff, the hood really came into play after the success of the RJ35, because the RJ35 initially had a fiberglass hood and then they turned it to a steel hood. And I guess people with seniors said, hey, I want a hood too. So that's where these kind of came. It is very rudimentarily made. And again, it's paper thin. Let's take a look how paper thin. I mean, you could just see that. I mean, it is not, it's maybe like two, it's probably 3 layers total. You can see how thin that is. And if we look up underneath, you can see what a mess it is too. We'll flip the hood over, we'll get a better look at it, but in general, there you go. So what's wrong with mine? I think we start off with what isn't wrong with it. The big white elephant in the room right there, somebody cut a hole in the hood to get to the spark plug of the engine. Obviously, at one point, they had some sort of cover over this. So we're going to have to fill the holes, make a new patch, fix this whole area. Second, where the air cleaner comes out, obviously this is in pretty bad shape. The epoxy's clearly just gone. So we're going to have to kind of fix the hole, restructure this whole area to get it nice and smooth. Also, there is a fairly good sized stress crack. If I do it, yeah, you can actually see right through this crack to the floor. That's what that little bit of gray is. And this was caused by the gas tank. If we take a look at a Wisconsin gas tank, here's the fill neck, obviously, and then they got these like support ribs, one here and one there. And obviously, all the years of the support rib riding on the hood caused a fairly good stress crack. The other one would be somewhere right in here. Another little interesting fact, somebody drilled a hole through the hood here and right there. Oh, excuse me, right here. I don't know what that is. That's a mark. So right here and right there. So we're going to have to fix those. Come back a little further. We've got another stress crack that's pretty good all the way through here. Don't know exactly what would cause that, but we'll need to fix that. And then we'll just go to the back altogether. These things, if you can't get the steering wheel off the steering shaft, you're not going to be able to get the hood off. So very, very, very classic situation here. Somebody decided to just cut the slot in the hood so that way they can get the hood off. But we're going to fix all this. I'm going to repair this, put a new piece in there. We'll probably fix these blown out holes. This is my kill switch. This is an original 55 brass kill switch. Theoretically, only the early machines got this. This was a RJ carryover before they went to a toggle switch. This is for, what is that? That's the throttle. I don't remember exactly what that's for, but we'll figure it out. You can see that Wheel Horse did put the red kind of like in the epoxy, so it really does have like a cool look to it. You can see all the way through. You know, this is all beaten up and dried out. Now, when I got the tractor, it had a set of lights on it. So somebody drilled a hole in this side, and somebody drilled a hole on that side. And obviously the lights were too heavy for the fiberglass because, of course, it's paper thin. So we're going to have to restructure the corner, fill in the holes. I think I'm going to go ahead and fix these holes in the front because those look a little too blown out. We're going to have to do a little bit of restructuring and fixing down in this area as well as this area. Looks like there's even a hog out, so I'll have to figure that out. I'll go over to my brother's senior and take a look at his and see how his hood looks. But again, it's got a little bit of a wing out here. But if we go down the side of it or look down these, it looks pretty good. It's not caved in or anything like that, so it should be fairly easy to fix. So let me go ahead and flip it over, and you can see some Wheel Horse or Pond family ingenuity. I don't think there's too many videos or even documentation of what one of these hoods look like from the underneath. And I think what's really interesting is just how rudimentary the fiberglass work was. I mean, granted, it's 1955, but you can just see all the little pieces everywhere. It's so cool. Now this is the original kill switch. It is riveted in. I'm going to have to gently get these rivets out because I want to get the switch out of the hood. A really good friend of mine, a real cool guy, super awesome. He actually handmade a couple of these switches, and it's absolutely perfect, and I got it. So it's going to go on this tractor, and we'll talk about that switch in another video. But in general, look how rough this is. I mean, this thing, this is how it was. This is factory, you know? It's just so funny how they did this. They just slapped these hoods together as fast as they possibly can. It is quite interesting. Just letting you all take it in. Now, when it comes to thickness, and I said it's paper thin, I mean, I don't know. That's pretty paper thin in my book. You can see that it's just not the most robust piece on the face of the planet. I'm going to switch my hands here real quick, and I got my dial caliper here, so let's take a look. And now we're not going to get super scientific here. Let's just find a spot here. Let's try to go like that. That's not. I'm trying to find a spot. Here we go. Here we go. Let's just do this because it's a little bit curved. So let's just grab that and see what we get out of it. Yeah, there we go. That's better. So what do we got? One. It actually moved a little bit. I guess that's good enough. We'll call it 1.120. So what is 120 on the old 120? We'll call it 125. Let's call it 125. So it's 1/8 of an inch thick. I mean, that's for a hood on a tractor. Yeah, roughly it's about the same. You know, and I'm putting a little pressure on it. Yeah, just a hair over 1/8 of an inch thick. And if we just use the tips, yeah. So my hood is just a hair over 1/8 of an inch, and I'm sure in a couple spots it's a little thicker than that. But in general, you know, this thing's paper thin. So let me go ahead, flip it back over, and let's talk as to what is going to need to be done. So in the quest of keeping my tractor patinaed, I'm not going to repaint it. I'm basically going to just take all the good stuff and clean it all up so it's nice and, you know, weathered, you know, the original weathered look, with the caveat that everything's going to be working 100%. So I'm taking a look at this hood and I'm trying to figure out what or how I'm going to leave it. So if we look here, this bit of red right there, that bit of red right in here, okay, and you know, other areas like over here, that's the original red. Then somebody obviously painted it red at some point, and then somebody put like a Rudy primer on top of it. Or it could be the other way around. The Rudy primer is on top of the original red, then somebody painted it red. And in some areas, as you can see, it's actually turned pink. But actually, I think this is what I love. I love this with the fiberglass kind of showing through. That's what I want to get to. I want to get it to this. I want to try to get this off and get it to that. Now for the patch areas, I think I'm just going to leave them alone. I'm just going to, you know, do my repair, and then I'll tape this off and I'll fill it to the most part. Like here, I'll fill this up to the edge to get this all, like, we'll have to glue this back down and then fill this. So that way I can sand the whole hood down real lightly with maybe like 1,000 grit and get it down to this. Oops, sorry, all of this. This area, I'm going to make a form and I'm going to make a patch, and then I'll use the underside and I'm going to cut it and make it fit right inside, and then I'll go ahead and epoxy the whole thing in. I'll probably have to put one little sheet of thin mat underneath it to make it a little bit stronger, but I don't want to like go crazy, you know, fixing all this stuff. Same thing here. I'll probably make a little slice in the hood. I'll open this up. I'll go from the back side with a couple pieces of thin mat and then fill the crack in and then sand it down and try to save all of this, save all of that. Same thing with this here. That's my plan. Obviously I'll take this thing out. This here, we're going to have to get a piece of aluminum or something like that and, you know, clamp it so it's straight, and then start to fix this area to build it up a little bit. This is the only area that might get a little bit thicker than I want, only because I got to get this thing to straighten out, and there's going to be some tension on that. So I got to make sure that I epoxy that in place and it stays in place. But the goal is to kind of keep it, as original as you see it right now. Just, you know, and the same thing down there. Going to have to make slices in the cuts, fill it, mat it, fill the holes in, so that way it's all real nice. At least that's my plan at this point. I don't want to go restructuring the whole hood. I don't want to add a whole ton of mat to it to make it thicker. I want to keep it paper thin, just the way it was, just the way it is, because I just kind of like that theory. So, all right, let's get on to the first fix it. Actually, I'll be honest with you. I don't know if this is going to be the first fix it video also, or it's just going to be a conversation about this hood in general. I'll be back in a second and I will let you know if there's going to be more to see. I think in the next video, we'll actually start working on the hood, but I think it's good to just kind of go through the items that I'm initially going to need in order to get the hood done. Obviously, gonna need some fiberglass resin. I just happen to have a couple extra hardeners, but these things come with 2 hardeners or 2 tubes of hardeners. Usually what I find is it's just not enough for this entire gallon. But so I got some backup hardeners, gonna need some fiberglass mat. I got some fine strand, I got some coarse strand. I think for this, most of the work will be done with the fine strand, and I actually have an extra fine strand in there. Gonna need some mixing cups. I do have, this mixing cup is used, if you let the stuff harden in these cups, you can kind of squeeze them and they'll break, the resin will break out of it. So you don't need a whole lot of these typically, but I got a couple of extra cups. Corn brushes, when I want to apply a lot of it all at once. I have this old garbage bag, or not an old garbage bag, but a garbage bag, which I'll use as my like release agent. If and when I use clamps, I'll put a piece of plastic bag between the clamps. That way I can pop these open, and then just the bag will just peel off the hardened resin. Obviously a good pair of scissors to cut everything. Sometimes I use big stir sticks, but usually I just go to Lowe's or Home Depot and I buy this cheapy pack of quick, like, you know, tongue depressor kind of mixers, and I could just throw them out. The other thing I have is I ran over to Harbor Freight and I got this cheapy pack of artist brushes. That way I can, places where I need to peel the original fiberglass up, I can then easily get a good coat of resin in between the old things. I could even use the end to really move it in there. So that's what I got for those. Oh, and yes, soon to come in another video, we do have our block of aluminum came in, so we're almost ready to start machining this box. I think I am going to get a new cutter for my buddy's Bridgeport. I'll just get a cheapy one off of eBay, or maybe, I don't know. I'm going to get a new cutter, so that way this will be hopefully a lot easier and a lot cleaner looking. But that's for another video. And this is for the next video coming up. Oh, wow. Another long one. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. Please come back. This hood will be starting. We'll be working on this hood very shortly. Actually, probably in the next couple days, I'll start the fix-it video on this. And we're going to start with this area right here. We'll fix this area first, and then I'll probably tackle the opening. And then from there, we'll start hitting each one of the cracks. I think the last thing I'm going to do is the back piece, only because I got to figure out how I'm going to brace this to be straight, as well as how I'm going to reconstruct that. The little bit of reconstruction is going to be back here, and that's because these things are so far apart. But with that, like I said, guys, thank you very much for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Please come back and see how this hood actually turns out, or as it progresses through the fix-it. And as always, I very much appreciate your viewership, and you have a nice day.